What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal SpazPhoenix, the YWC reality check, here with the last episode of Road Signs. Yeah, I know, I haven't been on here in not a couple of weeks, but I mean at least a good week and a half, and I've actually had, you know, flatteringly enough, like a bunch of people saying, like, where you at, man? Where are your videos? Do you know, I've heard through the grapevine that there are people that actually thought that I was done in the YWC just because I didn't do a video for a week and a half. Some people even went as far as to assume that I had been scared or shamed out of the YWC. Oh dear. Not to be egotistical, not to be too much of an asshole right at the beginning of the video, but let me tell you this. Anybody in the YWC that thinks they're going to scare or shame me out of the YWC, let me put it to you this way. People that like me like what I do. People that don't like me, if I left, you'd all be getting off way too easily, wouldn't you? Anyways, so where have I actually been? And here's where I want to toss out a little appreciation to my subs, because, you know, I'm not God and all that gibberish. Those of you that have been watching me for a long time know that the last time I had a full-time job was the tail end of 2010. All of 2011 and most of 2012 I spent in temp agencies, and anybody who has ever worked for a temp agency I know feels my pain, so I don't have to go into it that way. But I was temping at a place maybe two-thirds of last year and into this year, and finally got hired on at the beginning of March. Been there for about a month now, so if you've seen a little bit of a lag in my videos and, you know, fewer and farther between, that is why. When it happened, when I got hired on at the beginning of March, a lot of you know, random congratulations, kudos, that kind of thing from people on Facebook. A couple people I really shot the shit with, more so on Skype, guys like Preston, guys like Alex, etc. It's really, really cool to hear or to know or whatever that a bunch of people that I've never actually met take the time to you know, congratulate. I'm not saying they're deeply ensconced in my life or anything like that, but it's cool to, you know, think that they've taken the moment to congratulate me on stuff like this. I do thank you all, but the busyness that has developed from that, especially over the past month, my videos may be fewer and farther between, which is unfortunate for some, and I'm pretty sure a reason to celebrate for others who shall remain nameless. Oh yes. So yeah, that's that. To the people who are my loyal, supportive subscribers, you guys are all friggin' awesome, and there's really not much else I can say other than that. In the time since my last vid, two major things have come across sort of the dirt sheets, the rumor mill, and all that sort of thing. One is incredibly unfortunate, and that's the passing of Ric Flair's son, and obviously this means Ric Flair's not going to have anything to do with the WWE for a while, as he and his family are mourning, etc., as they should. And no, I'm not saying this before. I know there's somebody out there that's going to say something. They're going to assume that I'm just pissed off because Ric Flair's not going to be in Miz's corner at WrestleMania. That is also unfortunate, but the point of this portion of the video is to say, you know, for my part anyway, condolences to Ric Flair and his family, etc. Hopefully we will see Nate again sometime over the course of the next year or so involved in something. Whether it's The Miz or not, Nate is always entertaining, so hopefully we see him back soon, and we wish, you know, his family the best and all that sort of thing. The other one, and I can't even believe the amount of internet traffic that this has gotten, but the X-Pac story. And for those people that don't know the X-Pac story, apparently about a week ago, maybe a week and a little bit more ago, X-Pac was working at a house show, botched the Bronco Buster, and tore his asshole. I got nothing. I got nothing. Apparently one of the doctors has been quoted as saying this is the second time that Sean Waltman has torn his asshole. In all seriousness, that really sucks in an injury that probably is pretty damn devastating and pretty damn painful. You know it's going to be the butt of every joke of every person that gets their hand on that piece of information, but holy shit, this spread like wildfire on the internet. Had to say something. Let's not talk about bullshit anymore. Let's talk about WrestleMania, which is this Sunday. This is the last episode of Road Signs. This is, I'm going to be as corny as last year. We've passed every road sign We've hit every bump in the road. We've taken every bend in the road. There's been twists and turns on the road. And now we've reached the end of the road. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing. Here's where I've been accused by many people with worse haircuts than me of being way too positive and being a mark. And here's the funny thing about that too. I've never denied being a mark. I don't go into wrestling I don't go into Impact, Main Event, NXT, Superstars, Raw, SmackDown, any other pay-per-view, the top 4 pay-per-views, or even WrestleMania, trying to look for things to bitch about, like most people seem to be doing these days. So, because the negative people are being negative and I'm the one that's, you know, sort of sticking to my guns and being positive, I'm the mark. And I really wish that that term had a different name because, yeah, we're not going to go there. Anyways, so, what I've done for WrestleMania, for each match, I'm going to tell you the things that are shitty about each match. I'm going to tell you the things that are great about each match. I'm going to give you my previews, and for some of them, there's some little extemporaneous thoughts that are going to come on after I talk about the actual match. We'll get to those when we get to them. But, of course, we start with the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is pretty stacked this year, let's be honest. Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund, I can't rightly speak intelligently about because I didn't watch most of their careers. I know they both had huge impacts, especially Bruno Sammartino, 8-year title run or whatever the hell it was, sold out Madison Square Garden like 100 times or something like that. But they weren't people I watched, so it wouldn't be right for me to speak at length about their induction into the Hall of Fame because I wouldn't be doing it with facts, would I? Anyways, Bruno Sammartino was being inducted by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Interesting pick. You know Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to step out on the stage at WrestleMania at some point so that WWE can point out and say, hey, look, we've got a celebrity here. We're doing good. We've got a celebrity here. Bob Backlund's being inducted by Maria Menounos, apparently. Sure. Why not? Again, it's one of those, if there's a connection there, I don't know it. Donald Trump is being inducted by Vince McMahon, and here's where I'm going to go with this. This one, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, his rival at WrestleMania was Vince McMahon, his business dealings with Vince McMahon, his interactions on Raw with Vince McMahon, the partnership that they had, you know, they co-hosted WrestleMania 4 and 5 at Trump Plaza. The history is basically all with McMahon, but at the same time, being inducted by the head honcho of the company should mean more than a celebrity induction. And what I mean by that is when Austin went into the Hall of Fame, he was inducted by McMahon. And it was really one of those things where people were saying, you know, Austin's one of the best ever. In fact, he's so good, the owner of the company wanted to induct him personally. So now to have him inducting one of the celebrity inductees, although it makes total sense, it still comes off weird. Here's another one that comes off weird. Booker T is being inducted by Stevie Ray. Now, I will admit, I've been a WWE, WWF guy my whole wrestling fan life. In the dying years of WCW, I gave WCW a chance. It was something different. It was, you know, just another thing to flip to if Raw wasn't particularly good that night. So I do remember Harlem Heat, the tag team of Harlem Heat. I do remember the ascension, I guess you could say, of Booker T from Harlem Heat to becoming a singles wrestler, to becoming one of the most decorated guys in WCW, if my memory serves me correctly. So I get it. I get the connection between Stevie Ray and Booker T, and I get why it's impactful for him to have Stevie Ray induct him. My question about this is for the fans watching at home that have been strictly WWE or even started watching wrestling after WCW, you know, fell, for lack of a better term. Are they going to get the impact and the significance of Stevie Ray doing the induction? I don't know. I know I will understand it because I was there to see it. Younger fans or fans that never touched WCW with a 10-foot pole may not get it as much. So that's another weird one. Here's one that really, really surprises me. And I mean, I got my hopes up because I was listening to the dirt sheets, which I shouldn't do. Trish Stratus is being inducted to the Hall of Fame. First and foremost, yes, Trish Stratus. Hometown girl, first of all. I mean, I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from Toronto. If any of you know where Brampton, Ontario is, I doubt you do, because I don't even want to know where Brampton, Ontario is. I wish I lived somewhere closer to Toronto, but that's another story for another time. Trish Stratus going into the Hall of Fame. Fantastic. Long overdue. Or I won't say long overdue, but if they had done this a couple years ago, it wouldn't have surprised me. How about that? And the rumor, since the announcement of her induction, the rumor has been that Lita was going to induct her. And that made sense to me because I have said, and I will continue to say, hand on heart, Trish Stratus versus Lita is the Rock Cena, or sorry, not the Rock Cena, the Rock Austin of women's wrestling. It would make sense. My whole point was going to be, when I did hear that it was Lita doing the induction as well, when Lita goes into the Hall of Fame, which is a when, not an if, I wonder if Trish Stratus is going to return the favor, but that's not how it's going to go. Apparently Trish Stratus went on Twitter and asked Stephanie McMahon to induct her. Now, another powerful connection there. You know, Stephanie McMahon, you know, daughter of the boss, high up in the company in her own right. Everybody knows who Vince McMahon's daughter is, and the prestige of being inducted by a McMahon, it's unquantifiable, and I understand that, and it's a big deal for Trish, and if that's who she wanted to induct her, then I get it, and I do, and you know what, if that's who she wanted to induct her, great, you got the inductee you wanted. It came across, I'm surprised, I won't keep saying that it came across weird, but I was surprised when I found out that it wasn't Lita, because in my own mind and in my own head, remembering those two at their prime, it would be the perfect choice, but you know, part of that is because I'm a Lita mark, and I will freely admit that. Moving on, the last one, sort of the highlight of this year's Hall of Fame, for me anyway, is Mick Foley. Mick Foley being inducted by Terry Funk, again, just makes sense. These guys spent years and years and years and years and years killing each other in the ring practically. Mick Foley has always has always reminded the world that Terry Funk is his mentor. The respect between the two of them is uncountable. You couldn't really have anybody else. I mean, everybody has seen the Twitter video that went around where he pretended to announce that Al Snow was going to induct him, and even his own kid was like, nobody's gonna watch. So that was good, that's fine. It's a hell of a Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't know how many of the inductions are actually going to happen on TV. If I was to guess, you'll get Bruno Sammartino, Mick Foley, Trish Stratus, Booker T, and that might be it on the actual televised show, because we know they don't show the whole ceremony. I don't know when everybody else gets it. We don't get it up here in Canada until I think the Tuesday after WrestleMania, which is unfortunate because they show highlights and clips of it during WrestleMania when they bring everybody out to wave hello and all that sort of thing. But that's the Hall of Fame in a nutshell. Now, another big announcement that isn't really that big. Sean Diddy Combs, or P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy, or whatever name he's going by this week or this month, whatever, is performing at WrestleMania. And guess what, folks? Guess what? Remember my bucket of fucks? Still empty. My bucket of fucks is still empty. Not a single fuck was given when I heard that P. Diddy was going to be performing at WrestleMania. I mean, it's only one, not two. It's not Flo Rida and MGK like last year, or at least I hope not. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. Wrestling needs to go back to Rock. It makes sense. You've got 10 matches with like 20 people that want to kick the shit out of each other, and you're partying and booping and bopping and dancing around in between. No, just no. On the pre-show, Miz versus Wade Barrett. Okay, negatives first. And for the most part, it's going to be negatives first, so I can end on a high note. So all the super Negatrons out there can suck it, honestly. But Miz and Wade Barrett on the pre-show for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, this is bullshit for a lot of reasons. Yes, I'm a mark for the Miz, and I freely admit it, and you know what? I'm not even that ashamed to admit it, so, you know, whatever. Miz deserves to be on the WrestleMania card. Barrett deserves to be on the WrestleMania card, and because of its history, the Intercontinental Championship deserves to be on the WrestleMania card, but whatever. The build for this was weird, because the build for this started on a Chris Jericho highlight reel, and it was just talking about the movies, and they're both WWE Films movies that are B-rate at best, and nobody really cares, so they could have chosen something a little bit better to start this on. And then they had the whole triple threat scenario with Jericho, which didn't really go anywhere. And yeah, so it's not built very well. What it is built on doesn't really make much sense, and it's on the pre-show, and it should be on the main card. Positives: another Intercontinental title run will definitely solidify Miz in his new face role and sort of kickstart whatever WWE has going on for him next. A big win for Barrett, on the other hand. could be a big boost for him because, you know, obviously there's a lot of people that want him to be a world champion. One step towards that could be, you know, definitely beating The Miz at WrestleMania, considering that Miz is a former WWE champion and a former victorious WrestleMania main eventer. You know, against John Cena 2 years ago. So, now, the only plus to the pre-show thing, and this is personal, this is for me because I'm a fan of The Miz. Miz is undefeated at WrestleMania. And when I say at WrestleMania, I mean in the show that is WrestleMania. If Miz loses on the pre-show, or sorry, if Miz wins on the pre-show, good for him, he becomes the Intercontinental Champion. If Miz loses on the pre-show, he's still undefeated at WrestleMania. He will still be 3-0. Oh, yes. A couple years down the road, we'll have streak versus streak, and everybody will hate me and The Miz, and it will be great. Anybody find it weird that, you know, Antonio Cesaro is as great as he is as the United States Champion, and there's still no United States Championship match at WrestleMania? I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of Antonio Cesaro. I'm not, like... He's not one of those guys that I'm tuning into WrestleMania to watch, but at the same time, I watch what he's done in the ring. They haven't given him very much. What they have given him, he's gone all the way with, and from what I've seen from him, to have him not have a title match on the card and to not have the U.S. title on the card really, really seems funny to me. I mean, even if they threw him in a big multi-person match, like, you know, remember Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, I think, had the Intercontinental in the U.S. Why? See. I do my videos at ridiculous o'clock at night and still all this. But, what was I saying? Last year we had the big, you know, 7-on-7 match, and I think either the US or the Intercontinental Champion were involved in that match. Now, you could do a similar, like, big, huge pile of people match and have Cesaro in it. I'm not necessarily saying that it would have to be a United States Championship match, but I think at least all champions and all championships should be represented at WrestleMania in some capacity, even if we had a multi-person match like we used to have Money in the Bank at WrestleMania where it belongs, and sometimes you had the Intercontinental Champion or sometimes you had the U.S. Champion in the Money in the Bank match. They weren't defended and they weren't being recognized at that time as the champion, or sorry, as the holder of the championship that they held, but they were still shown at WrestleMania. So the fact that Antonio Cesaro is not on the card, like I say, I'm not the hugest fan of him, but it's still weird that he's not on the card. That's it. The rumored Divas Championship match, this has not been confirmed, is Caitlyn versus AJ. Now, the cons to this is there's no build whatsoever, and there's no way WWE would make it feel even remotely important because, let's face it, they don't make the Divas division look important. Now, the positives of this. Now, if WWE wanted to recognize the Divas and recognize the stories that exist in the Divas division, the problems between AJ and Caitlyn, just as far as time frame goes, revert back to before AJ initially hooked up with Daniel Bryan, before she was in the whole love triangle with Bryan and Punk, before she, you know, screwed over Cena at TLC, before she, you know, hooked up with Ziggler, before this, that, before the next thing, before she was the GM, before she was a psycho, before she was kissing everybody on the block. Really? Anyways, so there's a lot of storyline, and I mean, friggin' Caitlyn, every step along the way, even when her friend from NXT, I should say, there you go, there's how far back it goes back to NXT, but every time her friend from NXT had a psychotic break because of this guy or that guy or this guy or that guy, Caitlyn always tried to help her, and there's a storyline, and all they would have to do is put a package together of every time they've interacted from NXT to now, because it would be a long-ass package, because there's been quite a bit, they just haven't put focus on it. So they could cover their own tracks and make up all this build that kind of already exists, if they chose to. AJ, if she were to win the Divas Championship, AJ has had contact with almost every main eventer worth talking about. Dolph Ziggler, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Kane, etc., etc., etc. So she is not a main eventer, but she is synonymous with main event situations. And if she happens to be carrying the Divas Championship while she's synonymous with the main event, that title gets more, I don't know, I guess you'd call it exposure. Also, and this is a theme that's going to run throughout the evening, Team Ziggler, which, you know, Dolph Ziggler, Big E Langston, AJ, Team Ziggler could collect belts on Sunday. And I like that. I like a collection of people to have a collection of titles just to be a silent, standing show of force. And if AJ were to win the Divas Championship, that would be step one. Oh, yes. Tons of... Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's the match that everybody looks at when they look for a reason to bitch about WrestleMania. Tons of Funk and the Funkadactyls versus the Rhodes Scholars and the Bellas. Now, there's a lot of cons to this, absolutely. The Bellas are just another set of superstars that showed up in time for Mania. I mean, you could count Brock Lesnar in that, you could count Triple H in that, you could count The Rock in that, you could count, with all due respect, you could count The Undertaker in that. But basically, they showed up, hooked up with Rhodes Scholars, had 1 or 2 matches, and now they're going to be on the WrestleMania card. So we can all thank John Cena and Daniel Bryan for that. The Funkadactyls, one of them, ask me which one is which name, and I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I know one of them has decent in-ring skills because I've seen her on NXT actually having legit matches, but I mean, WWE books them like arm candy, so why should I care? Tons of Funk are a joke. Brodus Clay is a joke. Brodus Clay I had more respect for when he was Del Rio's bodyguard. And friggin' Matt Bloom, Albert, Tensai, Sweet Tea, whatever you want to call him, had more respect from me when he was the Hip Hop Hippo teaming up with Scotty 2 Hotty way back in the day than he does now in this Tons of Funk Sweet Tea garbage. The last thing that really bugs me about this match is friggin' Rhodes and Sandow are like mint talents wasted in this. The only, and I will admit that this is scraping the bottom of the barrel, there is one redeeming factor to this match for me, and that is that it will actually have a tag team dynamic. And what I mean by that: tag team wrestling, tag team psychology, tag team wrestling 101. Oh yes. But you know, cut off the ring, double team your opponents, you know, make it impossible for your opponent to tag out, you and your partner tag out constantly. That doesn't exist in a mixed tag match, because as soon as one person makes a tag, both people make a tag. So there's never that cut off the ring mentality. There's never the, you know, the opportunity for double teaming. There's never the opportunity for always keeping the fresh person in the ring, because if the fresh guy comes in, the fresh guy on the other side of the ring has to come in too. Now, you could have 2 of the Bellas double team 1 of the Funkadactyls. You could have 2 of Tons of Funk double team Cody Rhodes, whatever. So we can infuse actual tag team psychology that normally would not exist in a mixed tag match, because there are 2 guys and 2 girls on each team. And that, very, very bottom of the barrel, absolutely trying to pull something positive out of this match, is the only thing I can think of. Don't care who wins, but really, I really hope that we get a promo from Sandow and Rhodes, and I hope they shred Tons of Funk and the Funkadactyls a new asshole worse than X-Pac. Oh, yes. Oh, and my prediction is AJ, if that match actually happens. The Shield versus Orton, Sheamus, and Barrett. Oh, good lord. The Shield should be going for the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. Now, do I agree with the whole, okay, they're new guys, don't put a title on them right away? Yes. Are they mid-card guys? Yes. Have they made a huge impact? Yes. In this case, if one of them were to pick up the IC or the US title, it wouldn't bother me so much. But if they're going to pick up a title, the whole thing that they've been pushing as they've had these 3-on-3 matches at pay-per-views, which is really a stale trend to begin with, and I will admit that. The thing they've really been pushing is the teamwork. We are a unit. We are solidified. We are unified. We have better chemistry than any other collection of people in the WWE, and we've proven it by beating those 3 and those 3 and those 3 and those 3. The best way for them to prove that would have been to have Rollins and Ambrose get the tag team titles off of Hell No, you know, with Roman Reigns standing there looking like the big guy of the group, which is what he is, and you know, looking scary in the corner type thing, playing the Batista role. But they're not. They're doing this instead. The Shield deserves better. Orton deserves better, and I could not be paid to give a shit about Big Show or Sheamus. Now. On the positive end of things, The Shield will win this match. That is my prediction. The Shield gets a strong win against WWE's strong characters. And by that, I'm realistically, let's be honest, I'm talking about the head office's favorite guys, Big Show, all of the head office's favorite guys that aren't in higher matches, like not Rock, not Cena. You get Big Show, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. Randy Orton deserves it. The other two can kiss my ass. Now, the other cool thing that might come out of this is the big rumor is that we're getting a Randy Orton heel turn. If we get a Randy Orton heel turn, there's a pro and a con to that. Because Randy Orton heel turn, we want Randy Orton to be heel. I want Randy Orton to be heel. I'm pretty sure whoever you are, wherever you are within the sound of my voice, you want Randy Orton to be heel, because Randy Orton, as much as I respect the guy, as much as I think he's awesome in the ring, is stale as fuck as a babyface, and we all know it. So that could be that. The problem is, if the Shield wins because Randy Orton turned on his teammates, that goes from a 3-on-3 to a 4-on-2, and that's not nearly as dominating a victory. Now, a side thought to that. You guys know, okay, I'm going to get to John Cena and The Rock later on, but you guys know, anybody within the sound of my voice that has ever spent any more than 5 minutes on this channel knows that I cannot stand John Cena, could not be paid to give a fuck about John Cena. There is one move WWE could make that would make me legit give a shit about John Cena, and that is the two rumored heel turns for WrestleMania this year are Randy Orton and John Cena. If we have heel Orton and heel Cena as the new, this generation's two-man power trip, and they go out and get themselves the tag titles as a heel team, Randy Orton and John Cena, I would give a shit. There we go. WWE, if you're listening, which I know you're not, turn Randy Orton heel, turn John Cena heel, throw the tag team belts on them, and watch the wrestling world go nuts, let's be honest. Ryback versus Mark Henry. Now, let's look at this, let's look at this. Cons first, because that's what I've been doing. Don't care about Ryback. Ryback was pushed way too soon. Ryback was an even more roided up version of John Cena, and they tried to give him the Sheamus push, pushing him into the main event scene way too soon. Give very little shit about Mark Henry. Mark Henry is impressive as fuck. Let's not kid ourselves. And Mark Henry did better than I ever could have predicted when they gave him the world title for that brief period of time. But it's very hard for me to give a damn about Mark Henry most of the time, because everything he does is the same. Look at me, I'm strong, da-da-da-da. And that's my next point. Both of them are just booked because they're strong and because they can lift people. And that is John Cena booking. And I don't like John Cena booking. You need to do more than just show up and be strong and lift stuff for you to interest me as a wrestler. That's what I don't have. The other thing that we don't have here is, I'm calling this match the lose-lose-lose situation. Now, there's only 3 scenarios that can happen here, or that I think can happen here. One is that Mark Henry wins, and that doesn't help anybody with anything. It buries Ryback even farther, and Mark Henry's on his way out soon. He doesn't need the win. 2 is if Ryback is going to win and he tries for the shell shock and fails. Let's face it, this is WrestleMania, this is the New York crowd, and this is the biggest night of the wrestling year. If he fails on that big a stage, the crowd will never let him forget it. And the third and less likely option is if Ryback wins without using the shell shock, because that's just like him silently admitting that he can't do it, and it will come off very, very weak. So there's no way that this match can go that will look good. There's no way that this match will go that will look impressive, because I'm sorry folks, I don't see Ryback giving Mark Henry the shell shock. It's just not happening. He couldn't do it to Tensai. He couldn't do it to Paul Heyman. He's not going to do it to Mark Henry, who's bigger and a more dense human being than both of those guys. The only thing I will give this, and this is, again, one of those scraping the bottom of the barrel things, is it's a classic story. And I'm going to use that reasoning in a lot of these matches. I, personally, whether the matches are good or not, whether I like the matches or not, I am a sucker for the classic stories in wrestling. some of the classic stories in wrestling, what I mean by that, you know, you got the whole two big guys just going at it, button heads like two rams in the wilderness. You know, the whole King Kong versus Godzilla type of idea. You've got, you know, student and mentor. You've got old lion, young lion. You've got, you know, tag team breaks up and fights each other. You know, you got the biggest guy in the company versus the smallest guy. All these classic stories that, you know, they might be a little bit campy, they might be a little bit old-fashioned, but they always work. You know what I mean? And this will be the whole King Kong versus Godzilla thing. This is going to be two Mack trucks flooring the accelerator and smacking into each other for 5 or 10 minutes. Apparently, I read somewhere online they gave out the allotted times for the matches at WrestleMania. Apparently, this is going to be given 12 minutes. 12 minutes of these guys just running into each other and throwing each other around. I don't see. Ryback's going to win. Whether it comes off strong or not, we have yet to be seen. Here's another fun one. Hell No versus Team Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. Negatives first. Big E Langston's debuting at WrestleMania. I know what Big E Langston can do because I watch NXT. WWE thinks more people watch NXT than actually do, I think. So he's not necessarily new to me, but he's new to the WWE stage. I don't like it because it furthers the idea of mixed tag teams. It furthers the idea that was set out by Hell No when we had Hell No, and then we had Road Scholars, who actually proved to be pretty good. You had Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara just thrown together because they were the two guys in masks. You know, you got Brodus Clay and Tensai. You've got all these guys that were doing nothing, really. And, oh, okay, well, they're not doing anything, let's just give them a tag. And this is why, you know, Primo and Epico and the Usos and Ascension before one of them got fired, and all those guys will never see, no real teams will see the tag team titles because of this let's mash up the main eventers mentality. And this is, again, something that just progresses that idea right on, and it's not something I'm a fan of personally. Big E Langston is the new Swagger, really, because when Ziggler was with Vicky, they had Swagger sort of on the side as his not his handicap, as his partner, as his backup, as his whatever. The show is Ziggler. So really, it's Ziggler and fill in the blank, and Big E Langston is debuting as a fill into that blank, and I don't, in the long run or the short run, I don't see how that's going to help him at all. On the plus side, I'm sick of Hell No. I really, really hope they lose the tag team titles. If they do win the tag team titles, it will be a large building block for Dolph Ziggler as far as getting to his main event status, getting to his first world title, getting to his cash-in, etc. Now, he could do that with the Intercontinental title. He's had it. U.S. title, he's had. U.S. title, he saved it, because didn't he win it off of, like, Santino or somebody? And then he gave it a bit of prominence before they gave it to Swagger, who dropped it back to Ryder or some garbage like that. So the last time the U.S. title meant anything was when it was sitting around Swagger's waist. They could boost him towards his world title reign with another U.S. or IC title reign, but he's already held them. And by holding tag team as well as individual gold, it boosts him as a diverse superstar. Look at me, I can fight on my own, I can fight as part of a team, I can be a leader, I can be a teammate, I can be all these things. And it adds to, once again, as I mentioned in the AJ match, it adds to the Team Ziggler Gold collection at WrestleMania. Now, I have another theory. And this is a sidetrack. This does not directly have to do with WrestleMania. If Hell No... I can speak, I swear. There it is. Where's my drink? Slow down, stop rambling, have a drink. And away we go. If Hell No loses... if Hell No wins at WrestleMania, they will lose the belts to Road Scholars. And here is my theory as to why. Hell No is bonding right now with Caitlyn, because Hell No is fighting Team Ziggler. Team Ziggler has AJ on it, Caitlyn hates AJ, so they're all going to bond on this, I don't know, we all think AJ's crazy, let's all work together and defeat her type thing. They will bond. They will think that they have unity with Caitlyn, but Caitlyn wants Mr. Cody Rhodes. So I see Caitlyn turning heel, telling the Bellas to fuck off, joining Road Scholars, and ensuring that they are the next tag team champions. Just a theory. Just a theory. Just something that WWE could capitalize on if they wanted to. They probably won't because, you know, company isn't there for me. Jericho versus Fandango, another one that's got everybody all up in arms. Da 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 da. Okay, negatives first. The whole say my name gimmick is lame. It just is. I mean, it's lame in a way that makes you look at the guy and say, hey, you're being lame, so we don't like you, so you're a heel, so we're going to boo you. But it is annoying. The match feels very last minute, and why does it feel last minute? Because it is last minute. It was thrown together, what, 2 weeks ago? Some people, not me, but some people would say that Jericho is being wasted on this match. But where I have my problem with that is the people that say Jericho is being wasted on this match are the same people that get on guys like Triple H and The Rock and some other people like that for never putting anybody over, whereas Jericho does the exact opposite. Jericho works the most. Out of all the part-time wrestlers in the WWE, Jericho works the most to boost other people, to enhance other people, to bring up younger talent and make them look great. So this is the perfect role to exaggerate the contribution that Chris Jericho makes to wrestling right now. Like Big E Langston, Fandango is another NXT guy that gets to debut at WrestleMania. Fandango is going to have his first match, for those of us that don't watch NXT, at WrestleMania, and that is a very, kind of, for the WWE and for him, it's a very, very dangerous sink or swim situation. So I've watched Johnny Curtis on NXT. I like Johnny Curtis in the ring. He played a really, really awesome, kind of creepy character on NXT, for those of you that don't watch it. And it was really good, because it did legitimately make you go, that guy's a little bit, you know, not quite all there. Now let's look at the pluses. Jericho, whether Fandango brings his A game to WrestleMania or not, Jericho can dance with the proverbial broomstick and make the broomstick look good. So Jericho will help Fandango have a fantastic debut. The alternative to this, if they hadn't put this match together, the alternative would probably be a rematch of Jericho and Ziggler. And I wouldn't have minded that whatsoever, but oh my god, the YWC rulebook likes to bitch that we can't see any match more than once. And the YWC rulebook also bitches that there are too many rematches on this card as it is. So it's probably a good thing in the long run that they didn't go that direction. Again, another classic story, and they exemplified it in a backstage segment where they interviewed Chris Jericho. They exemplified the whole, hey, I used to be like Fandango. I wanted to make a big name for myself, so I jumped on the biggest dog I could. In the back of my head, I really wished he had actually mentioned the match between him and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, but the thought was there. If anybody's seen the preview package for the match between Sheamus and Jericho a couple years ago, and between Triple H and Sheamus a couple of years ago, and Triple H is talking to Sheamus saying, I know what you're doing, I did it a long ass time ago. When I was a young guy, I jumped on the Ultimate Warrior and I got my ass kicked. Here's hoping it doesn't happen to you. I really wish that Jericho had pulled out some sort of promo like that on Fandango. It didn't quite happen. Like I say, the build isn't fantastic, but I like Johnny Curtis in the ring. I'm glad he's getting this shot at WrestleMania. His gimmick is kind of iffy. Jericho will make him look like gold. And because Jericho is good at making everybody else feel like gold, I'm actually predicting Fandango to win this. Moving on. Alberto Del Rio versus Jack Swagger. This is one of the matches I'm looking most forward to at WrestleMania as far as in-ring work. Now, does that have anything to do with character? Does that have anything to do with the build? Does that have anything to do with anything? No. It has to do with the fact that I know in the ring, specifically, Jack Swagger's a great talent, and it has to do with the fact that I am a huge, huge fan of the in-ring work of Alberto Del Rio. But let's look at the negatives. Nobody really cares about Swagger. Nobody, like... I said it before about other people, but people can't be paid to give a fuck about Jack Swagger on his own. Giving him this gimmick was, I think, WWE's last-ditch effort to make people give a shit about him, because people just didn't. When he made his comeback, people didn't care. When he got into the Elimination Chamber, people didn't care, and because of not caring, they were outraged when he won. Not caring is worse than hating somebody, because at least if you hate them, you feel something. They've had some impact on you, and especially as a heel, you're supposed to hate them anyway. But just not caring is horrible. The match really is relying on the outside talents, Ricardo Rodriguez and Zeb Coulter, because let's be honest, Zeb Coulter has more heel heat than Swagger, and that's not a good thing, is it? WWE as a whole, and this has nothing to do with Swagger or Alberto Del Rio or this feud specifically, WWE doesn't book the World Heavyweight title as a big deal anymore. The way WWE books the World Heavyweight Championship, the SmackDown Championship, kind of feels like the way they should be booking the Intercontinental Championship. I have a feeling if WWE did what I want them to do and got down to one title, this exact feud would be happening over the Intercontinental Championship. It's just a feeling of mine. Because so much of the focus has been on Ricardo Rodriguez and Zeb Coulter, I picture there being a lot of outside involvement in this match, which is kind of sad because if you just left these two to their own devices, they could have a fantastic technical match. Pluses, there's two great in-ring workers in this. The match itself, literally, and I'm stressing that because I know the build is crap, I know the story is crap, I know the managers are way too involved, but the match itself will be great. I'm fully convinced of that. The issues involved in the storyline are at least relevant. You know, racism, patriotism, all those hot button things that will grab people. Not as much as WWE thinks they will, but they will grab people because they are real issues that people give a shit about. Alberto Del Rio is being built as a strong babyface. That's just a general trend that's been going on for a while now. I like it. It's great. And the possibilities of Ziggler cashing in Money in the Bank are great. We could have Alberto Del Rio defend cleanly and go off as a stronger looking champion. We could have Swagger win, you know, a heel version of cleanly, walk off with the belt, and then we get this big, you know, championship driven patriotic dreck more and more and more. We could have Alberto Del Rio win, have his victory stolen from him by a cash out by Ziggler, and Alberto Del Rio and Ziggler go on and have a feud, which I've wanted to see for a long time, over the belt. We could have, and this is the one that's the least likely, but it would really, really intrigue me, would be if Swagger won and Ziggler cashed in on him, because not only could that turn the page and eventually lead to a face turn for Ziggler, they could totally play up on the fact that they used to be a tag team and that Ziggler used to carry him, and those promos would be fantastic. So there's a lot of possibilities in this match. That's one of the reasons it's the one I'm looking most forward to. Next, why are people beeping me while I'm doing a video? Ridiculousness. Ridiculousness is ridiculous. Triple H versus Lesnar. Cons first, as the pattern has developed. Two part-time wrestlers. Triple H has fought, what, twice this year? Lesnar's fought twice this year. Makes both of the characters very, very hard to get invested in, especially because Brock Lesnar is wrestling part-time now after being completely gone for 10 years. Very, very... I'm not saying that he's not impressive when he does get in the ring and does actually do stuff, but it's very, very hard for me to get invested in Lesnar when we get so little of him. Triple H, I'm invested in because of what he's done in the past. Like, I'm invested in King of Kings, Cerebral Assassin, DX, Triple H. And this is the guy, and that carries me over. But, I mean, if that wasn't there, the amount of time we actually see Triple H these days would be very, very hard to get invested whatsoever. That's only underlined by the fact that they've brought back Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels in Triple H's corner, yes, it makes sense, but it really, really seems desperate on WWE's part to put Shawn Michaels in his corner, because it's like, okay, Shawn Michaels will get people's attention, so we'll put Shawn Michaels outside the ring in Triple H's corner, and it'll get more views, it'll bring more eyes to the match. Whereas now you've got an audience that, if that is the case, are going to be paying more attention outside of the ring than in it, and that's not good, is it? This has the potential to be overbooked to hell, doesn't it? With everybody that's involved in this match, or the story leading up to this match, we've got Vince, we've got, who was injured by Lesnar, we've got Stephanie, who's been insulted by Heyman and Lesnar, we've got DX, who, you know, Shawn Michaels had his arm broken, and the New Age Outlaws were attacked, and X-Pac was too busy ripping his butthole, but if he had been around, then he probably would have been attacked as well. You've got Heyman in there, who's managing, Lesnar, and he's just a slimy guy, and he's good at it. And you got the Shield, always in Heyman's back pocket. They have that loose association from when they were helping out Punk, so that always is a possibility. Yes, they have their own match, but don't be surprised if the Shield gets involved in either this match or Punk's match, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Now, The other thing is they're really, really hyping this up. One of the things that's supposed to really get everybody's attention is that this is a retirement match for Triple H. Like I said, Triple H has only wrestled, what, 3 times in the past 2 years? So the real story is he's coming out of retirement to have a retirement match, and that's more exciting, but it sounds very weak. What I will say, on the positive side, the storytelling has been steady. The storytelling hasn't been constant, but it's been steady. Like, every time there's been an interaction, it's meant something. Every time there's been an altercation, it has meant something. Whether it was the match at SummerSlam, where Triple H lost and was humbled and started doubting himself and came back from that more aggressive than before and busted Brock Lesnar open, and now here we are. We had Heyman coming out and insulting Triple H's family, insulting his wife. We had the interaction between Heyman and Stephanie, which was awesome. We had Vince being attacked by Lesnar. Like I said before, we had Shawn Michaels and Triple H both getting their arms broken by Lesnar. We had the F5 attack on the New Age Outlaws. If China was around, I would love to see an F5 on China. That would be awesome. But so there is a lot going into this match. So the revenge story is pretty much set. People are saying, well, they didn't do much to build it. Well, they couldn't have really done much else for it. The story's written, and it's there, and it's ready to go. Lesnar, in his own right, does have that, why? Really? This? Guys, like, swear to God, it's like 12:30 at night. I should not be still getting texts and calls and shit. Sorry about that. Moving on. I do ramble, do I not? Lesnar is an imposing force. We know that he's got that element behind him of, oh, he left WWE and went and was a real fighter for a while, which I don't like, but he does bring that with him to the ring. Triple H, on the other hand, and I've said it before, and I think I said it right around SummerSlam time, Triple H has what not a lot of guys in the WWE these days have, and that's the shit just got real factor. And that, what I mean by that is, like, all you hear is the first chord of that, you know, Time to Play the Game by Motorhead, and it's like, and you see Triple H just, you know, standing there with that initial pose that he does in the multicolored lights and all that thing, and you get that element of, okay, wow, shit just got real. And there's not a lot of people in the WWE currently that have that. So it'll be good to see that at WrestleMania. It will be a good brawl. It will be a great brawl, and they will destroy each other, and this will be the match where we do get blood. This is where the match where we see somebody busted open. This is where we see some crazy ass spots. So the hardcore element of this year's WrestleMania will be in this match. And I really don't like doing the businessman arguments because they sound really, really lame, but Lesnar does indeed bring some recognition from the UFC audience. And if they bring a couple UFC fans over into the WrestleMania crowd, then good for them. But everybody I know that watches UFC couldn't stand Lesnar, couldn't be paid to give a fuck about him. So, that may or may not be a factor. Here's one comment, and this isn't necessarily about the Triple H Lesnar match, but it's more so about the Punk match later on. Do you see Vince McMahon at any point in this Lesnar match coming out and attacking Paul Heyman? Because I see it as a possibility, because, you know, Lesnar's the one that took out McMahon. Lesnar's also fighting McMahon's son-in-law. This is somebody who's insulted his family, da-da-da-da-da. Vince McMahon isn't going to square up one-on-one with Brock Lesnar. It's not going to happen, but he can definitely come out and beat the shit out of Paul Heyman, who he's got years and years and years and years and years of history with. Plus, I don't think we need Heyman for the Punk Taker match, but I'll get there when I get there. Cena Rock. Oh, dear. Here we go. Here we go. How much time is Spaz going to spend ranting about Cena versus The Rock? Not that much, really. I can tell you all the things that I don't like about the match. I can tell you all the negatives of this match. The world is sick of hearing about this match. It was announced, what, 2 years ago? More than that. 2 years ago plus 3 months that The Rock was going to host WrestleMania 27. Then he went and he fucked over John Cena at WrestleMania 27. And then the night after that, we heard that they were going to fight the following year. And we got bullshit built up to the 28th. And then we got bullshit reaction for a couple months after 28. Then we got bullshit build leading into 29. Everybody and their uncle is sick of hearing about John Cena and The Rock. WWE overhypes it like crazy. And before, like last year, they could almost afford to overhype it like crazy, make everybody think it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But now that we've seen it once, and no, it's not. Yes, after last year's match, I admitted that it was a good match. But that's what it was. It was a good match. Now you're trying to sell it as if it's the greatest thing since sliced bread again, now that we know that it's not, and that's why it's even less effective, and that's why they've wavered between, you know, the respect and the anger, and the respect and the anger, and it's so wishy-washy, and no effort has been put into the build whatsoever, that just the only ones that think that this is a big deal are the WWE writing team. That's it. The Rock will carry Cena to another good match, like he did last year. I don't want to see anybody get carried at WrestleMania, and it's going to happen a lot this year, apparently. The bullshit redemption story. Holy crap. John Cena was so hard done by after losing to The Rock. He won the 3 weeks later against Brock Lesnar in the main event. He went on to, you know, bury everybody, fire John Laurinaitis, have a bunch more great matches with Punk, finally defeated Punk on his way to this year's WrestleMania. So where is the redemption storyline? The redemption storyline is crap. If you want to see better videos about why the redemption storyline is crap, go to Delexman's channel. He's mentioned it more than once, and he's been far more articulate about the matter than I have, for sure. The ending is predictable. We know Cena's going to win. We know Cena. There's no way The Rock is winning. Like, it's just not going to happen. Cena's going to win. They're going to get this big moment, da-da-da-da-da, whatever. Here's the biggest thing for me is you want your last match, and nobody can deny that this is going to be the last match on the card because WWE thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It will be the last thing on the card, and it will be the match that sends people in New York home. Now, not only is it WrestleMania, not only is it in New York, which is a very smart crowd, and will tell you their honest opinion every damn time. Look at the mixed reaction that Cena gets, and specifically look at the reaction he got in DC. In DC, on the go-home show for WrestleMania, the go-home Raw for Mania, he was met with boring chants. Now, if you are going to have John Cena go home with the WWE Championship at the end of this year's WrestleMania, everybody's going to go home pissed. Like, WWE thinks it's going to be this great big feel-good moment, and it's just going to piss a lot of people off. Here's another thing. John Cena turning heel. John Cena turning heel is something WWE has teased once or twice before. They're really looking like they're teasing it now. And if they do turn John Cena heel somehow at WrestleMania, I think they assume that it's going to be the biggest thing on everybody's lips. That it's going to be, you know, Hogan joining the NWO all over again, just because of all the comparisons between Cena and Hogan. It's not. People don't care. People cared about Hogan. People legitimately, like, Hogan had a cult following. John Cena has a 50-50 crowd pop at best. Nobody's going to care. And the big thing is, oh, the one thing that could save this match will be if John Cena turns heel. And you know, people ask me, because they know I can't stand John Cena, what if he turned heel? Well, other than the tag team scenario that I spoke about earlier in this video, John Cena will still be John Cena whether he's an asshole or not. He still is. He's a heel right now as far as half the crowd's concerned anyway. WWE is concerned about the merchandise. The merchandising value of John Cena turning heel, da-da-da-da-da, you know, everybody wants to be a financial advisor. Oh, yes. Let's see. Triple H sells a lot of t-shirts. CM Punk has beaten John Cena in t-shirt sales, and he's a great heel. The Miz sells a lot of t-shirts, as much as some people don't want to admit it. Ziggler sells a lot of t-shirts, so I don't see it. I don't get it. Like, heels can sell t-shirts. You know, more people like to, you know, indulge themselves in a heel being a heel than, oh, we'll be good guys and we'll follow the good guy and he's standing upright and doing the right thing, you know, blonde hair, blue-eyed, great American boy, blah, 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 blah. I don't think John Cena turning heel is going to have the impact that WWE and some of the fans out there seem to think that it will. How about that? I spoke about this before in a video a while ago. I don't like the conflict that this match causes in my own head, because in my heart and in my soul, I want The Rock to win. I've been a Rock fan as long as I've been watching wrestling. I've been a fan of The Rock, you know, heel, face, you know, nation, corporation, everywhere along the way. The guy's great. He's 10 times better than John Cena. He deserves all the accolades he has. Now, he's never there. He's a shit champion. They never should have put the belt on him if he wasn't going to be there. It makes more sense. It makes more logical sense for John Cena to win this match. It hurts me to say that, honestly. But for things to make sense, for the WWE title to be recognized whatsoever, John Cena has to win. I want The Rock to win. If the title wasn't on the line, like, if they go into SmackDown on Friday and The Rock drops the title to Randy Orton or somebody like that, and Randy Orton goes and does something else with it, Rock Cena Part 2 at WrestleMania, hell yeah, Rock, go kick his ass. With the title, no, it doesn't make any sense. With the title, it doesn't make any sense. So as much as I hate to say it, Rock needs to drop the title, and the one that he's in the ring with is John Cena. Let's hope Cena doesn't carry it too long and hands it off to somebody that actually deserves it, like Ziggler, like Punk, like somebody else, very, very soon. But with the options we have in the world we live in, John Cena has to win this match, unfortunately. That is the only plus. John Cena has to win this match, and he's going to win this match. I just don't have to like it. Now, that'll be the last match of the night. The true main event of WrestleMania with Punk Taker. Let's go with the negatives first, and I'm going to say this with as much respect as I can muster. Guys, Taker's getting old. And I know that makes me sound like the biggest asshole in the world. I respect the hell out of the guy. Mark Calloway, I respect the hell out of him. But he's getting old, and he's starting to show it. And he started to show it a little bit in the Hell in the Cell match last year, even though it was a great match. And he only wrestles once a year. Now, as great as The Undertaker is, as synonymous as WrestleMania and The Streak and The Undertaker are, as we keep going throughout the years and we only see him once a year, he becomes harder and harder to invest in as a character. That leads to the build feeling like it was very, very thrown together. The build has also offended a lot of people. Now, it's gotten a lot of people talking, which is exactly what it was designed to do. But, you know, you got people up on YouTube swearing a blue streak. Oh, you know, I was going to buy WrestleMania until I saw this shit that they did with Paul Bearer, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm not going to buy Mania. Now I'm going to stream it instead. Here's the thing. Now that I come to that, here's a total side note. Is it funny to you that most of the people that are the most critical of the WWE product are the ones that don't pay for it anyway? Just a thought. But, Heyman could get involved in this, which I really hope he doesn't. This is why I say I hope he gets taken out during the Lesnar match. Heyman getting involved in this match will be too much. Punk, Taker, by themselves in the ring, great match. Doesn't need Heyman. If Heyman's in this match, he's going to get in the way. That's what I'm going to say about that. The build, the whole Paul Bearer passing away thing. The scary thing is, and I heard this in a podcast the other day, WWE, somewhere in the dark, dark part of their brain, have to be thanking God that friggin' Paul Bearer passed away. And it's bad. It's bad to say that. But I mean, if they didn't have this to go on, then it would be, hey, I won a Fatal 4-Way match on Raw that was garbage, so now I'm going to take your streak at Mania. Ha ha ha. Look at me go. The build with all the whole Paul Bearer stuff and whatever, it's divided the crowd. It's divided people on Facebook. It's divided people on YouTube. And, you know, there are people that are adamantly against it. Like, I've seen Wrestling Jesus has done a bunch of rants on him, and he makes some good points. Spoke to Regina just last night, Nature Girl 30. Go check her out, by the way. And she was adamantly against it. And I understand where both of them are coming from. I really, really do. I respect their wanting for more respect for the passing of William Moody. I get that 100%. I do tend to side with guys like Alex and Preston a bit more, where they're not disrespecting William Moody. They're respecting a fictional character named Paul Bearer. I believe, in my heart of hearts, no, I do not know CM Punk. No, I do not know William Moody. I'm not trying to come off as one of those guys. But I do genuinely believe, for somebody that's as dedicated to wrestling as Phil Brooks is, I don't think Phil Brooks has nearly the disrespect for William Moody that CM Punk has shown for Paul Bearer in the last 3 weeks. How about that? That's why I'm okay with this. And that's why, because Punk is such a good heel, that's why I've loved the build. It's great. It's edgy. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Oh, well, I don't like it. It's a very uncomfortable moment. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to resent the heel for making you feel that uncomfortable. Just saying. Now the pros. It's going to be a great match. It's another classic story. When I talked about the categories of classic story earlier on in this video, the streak at WrestleMania stands alone as its own classic story. It has to be there. Punk has hinted very, very heavily at the idea of the fact that he's pissed off The Undertaker so much that he's going to get disqualified or counted out. And if he gets disqualified or counted out, that's just as good as a pin or a submission. So we have the idea that Punk is going to stoop so low as to kill the streak by disqualification or count out. And doesn't that just get him more heat? That is fantastic. And Punk, here's the thing, here's where the debate really, really comes in. And this is where people are divided once again. Should the streak ever end? Me personally, no. I think Undertaker needs to retire with the streak intact. But if you're going to stick that big if in there, if they were to end the streak, give it to Punk. Fuck. Of anybody on the WWE roster right now, if you're going to end the streak, give it to Punk. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to defend it or base it or anything. That is just my opinion. If you're going to end the Undertaker streak, if you have to, if you deem it necessary, or Undertaker deems it necessary to end the streak, to have a 1 at the 20-1 or 21-1 or 22-1, whatever down the line, if you're going to end it at all, give it to Punk. Just saying. Now, just going to end off with some other random thoughts. This close to WrestleMania 29, of course we're getting rumors for WrestleMania 30. It's rumored that we're going to get Punk Austin. If we do, awesome. It's rumored that we're going to get Cena Undertaker. Really? Oh, that worries me a lot. And it's rumored that we're going to have Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Now, because Triple H has gone on record as saying that if he has to book himself a retirement match, his first choice for somebody to face would be Shawn Michaels. Now, the problem with that is Shawn Michaels is already retired. And, yeah, he's doing other things. He's doing TV. He's doing a bunch of other stuff. He's doing some partial, like, Legends contract type spots, like when he showed up on Raw this past week. I don't think Shawn Michaels would want to have another match or has any need to have another match. I don't think he needs to be retired himself and then come back to retire Triple H. What I would really like to see, and this is total spitballing, because they are also rumored to be in talks with Batista about making a comeback and maybe a partial run for a couple of months. I would love to see Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, take on the Shield next year at WrestleMania. That would be great. And here's my question for all of you guys. We all know the things that we don't want to see. We all know the things we're sick of. We all know the things that we say, oh, come on, WWE wouldn't be that stupid. So here, to end this year's series, to end this year's Road Sign series, I want to ask you guys one question about next year's WrestleMania. If you had to choose, would you rather see Rock Cena 3, or would you rather see Cena take the streak? Would you rather see another round of Rock and Cena, or would you rather see Cena take The Undertaker's streak, which at that point would be 21-0? Anyways, I have rambled on far too... Holy crap, it's been like 50 minutes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been really cool to catch up with you guys. Thanks to those of you that have asked me where I've been and what's been going on. Thanks to all of you who've been giving me a lot of support with the new job and all that sort of thing. It is fucking 1:30 in the morning. 1:30? 1 something. I can't even see the clock from here. That's how late in the evening it is. I gotta stop talking, guys. WrestleMania is this Sunday. You will not see any more vids from me until then. I might go back to doing the straight Raw reviews. Not sure yet. If you want me to do the straight Raw reviews, put it down in the box below. If you like these sort of more random, hey, this is what's going on this week type videos that I do for Road Signs, let me know that in the box below. I do want to interact with you guys, have your guys' opinions, whatever or not. Tweet me, friggin', you can tout me, but I'm not there. Facebook, you know the drill. All the links are in the box below, and all of you that talk to me have already obviously used those links. So, yeah. Stop rambling. Time to go to bed. See you guys later. See you guys after Mania. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep these conversations going. Give me your predictions for WrestleMania. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you. But for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like